Hello, YouTube. How you guys doing on tonight? I am Shalitha Marshall, your divorce coach strategist, and I support women transitioning into divorce to rebuild and restore their lives. So come on, like, comment, subscribe. And tonight I just wanted to come on to ask you guys a question, something that I had to ask myself. And the question is, who are you following? Who are you following? You know, we have social media, news, celebrities, all these different type things who we look up to and try to follow. But that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be following the will and plan that God has for us. So again, my question is, who are you following? Here I am in my early 20s playing tug of war with God. I knew the things that I was doing wasn't right, but I was young, living in Atlanta, having the time of my life. As a child, living with my grandmother, I always went to church. It seemed like we went to church every single day. She was an evangelist, so she was always talking with people, always praying for people, always visiting the sick. And I just felt like that was way too much. So I said to myself, when I grow up and live on my own, I would not go to church anymore. And that's exactly what I did. In 2002, I began to hang out all the time at every club that was open and popping in Atlanta. I began to meet all types of people, even a lot of celebrities. And that's when the alcohol, drugs, sex became a part of my everyday routine. I really did enjoy drinking, so whomever would buy me a drink, I was here for it. I didn't have any responsibilities or anyone to go home to, so most of the time I would drink myself or pop pills until I passed out. And in the midst of my recklessness behavior, God was still right there watching over me, unknowingly chasing after something that I couldn't get my hands on. I continued partying, hanging out, drinking, and doing drugs, talking to guy after guy. And on this one particular night of partying, I guess that I drank and smoked and popped too many pills. I woke up 2 days later in an empty building on the floor. But God, I was safe. Nothing had happened to me. No one was in the room with me, watching over me or anything like that. So I was so thankful. And that's when I knew that something had to change. I mean, I could have been raped, robbed, left for dead, but God kept me safe, and He kept me safe for a reason. So at the age of 23, I found me a church home and started going to church. I stopped hanging out as much as I was, and I definitely stopped popping pills. I didn't stop having sex or drinking, so therefore I was still playing tug of war with God. Fast forward to age 29, I thought I had everything on my own. I had my own house, my own car, and I even had money saved in the bank. I thought that I was doing everything right in my book, but I still hadn't submitted my life over to God. I didn't like being by myself, so I didn't want to give up dating or having sex. I ended up settling for a man that I knew wasn't right for me, but I just didn't like being single. I should have talked to God more and given that part of my life over to Him. But I wasn't taught how to do that. And I wasn't taught that God was my Father and God loved me. And I wasn't taught that I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I thought seeking validation from men was what I was supposed to do. but obviously there wasn't. And Elohim taught me to love myself and to love me for who I am, because he already knew me, he made me, and he loved everything about me. So I went from me to partying, drinking, hanging out, to submitting my life over to him and to following his way and to get into alignment for the will that he had for my life. In James 4:7, it states, "Submit therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." And that comes from Jeremiah 1-5. So once we seek Holy Spirit for what it is that God has for us and for our lives, we will get in alignment with God and begin to see ourselves a whole different way. So I just wanted to come on here and share that with you guys, and I love you. Good night.